All right, let's talk about resin. Let's start off. Let's put some gloves on. All right. I don't resin print too much, but resin printer was my first printer. I thought it was cool, the detail, but I just didn't know its limitations when I first got into printing about a year ago. So I just thought it was awesome to be able to print these statues, figures, whatever you want to call them. And it was just amazing to me, the detail, the quality. So I went with a resin printer. I got myself a Elegoo Saturn 3 Ultra, and it's been amazing. I actually got it, I think it was refurbished on eBay. Customer service, impeccable. Had problems with the corner of the screen. It was giving me like this little stringy thing of resin every time I printed on the upper right corner. No matter what I printed, I think there was like a little nick in the screen, and it just kept producing this little string. They sent me out a new screen, so in my eyes I got a brand new printer, because brand new screen like a month right after I got it. So, and it came with a year warranty, so that was cool. I've had this model in here for quite a while, a few weeks actually. So, and this resin in here was some cheap $10 resin. I think it was $10 for 1 kilogram bottles. It was cheap. I think they don't even sell it no more. I think they were just trying to get rid of stock, and some of it was like on the verge of being expired from the expiration date on the side of the bottle. But resin printing, in my eyes, is easy. The hardest part is calibrating the resins, no doubt. Well, one of the hardest parts. We'll get to the slicing in a minute. But calibrating the resins is easy once you've did it once. Now, are there pain in the arse resins? Yes. Some of them, as long as you understand that you cannot get dimensional accuracy and quality out of every single resin. You can get very good quality and decent dimensional accuracy. You can get amazing dimensional accuracy and decent quality, vice versa. I'm not an expert in any means whatsoever. This is my first printer. It probably won't be my last. I will be getting another one. I'm actually looking on upgrading. I think I'm going to go with the Elegoo Saturn 4 Ultra, because it seems like the best bang for your buck. But let's talk about the new resin printer that is making its rounds on YouTube. I don't know if these two companies are related, but Uniformation and Haygears. But Uniformation didn't have the whole closed system, but man, they were peddling that Uniformation GK2 like nobody's business. Like, they were pushing that thing. Well, they weren't. They were having YouTubers do it. But man, that money, I'm wondering what they got paid. Because I want to see the transactions that went on, because for them to push that machine like it was the next coming of sliced bread, come on, man. Like, for real, resin printing is much easier than FDM printing. And I'll argue with you in the comments all day about that. FDM printing has so many little quirks here and there. Supports are usually a nightmare, depending on the model. Certain things, you want to print something like this with FDM, oh man, yeah, you probably could. The detail's not going to be there. But oh Jesus, man. But I like to calibrate my resins down to the ease of releasing it from the build plate. Like, this has been here for I'd say 2 weeks or more, maybe 3 weeks, just sitting there, just waiting for me to process it. And let me get my yeah, I don't have a wash and cure station. It honestly, I might get one in the future, but you don't need one, honestly. This is perfectly fine, to be honest. We have a dirty wash to start with, and then we have our clean wash, okay? And I have bigger containers for bigger models. Sometimes you print something a little bigger and you need something to put it in there, because everything obviously isn't going to fit in these little pickle jars. But I got my toothbrush, because I do this with every single model. Got to scrub it. I don't use the metal scrapers. Once you calibrate a resin to perfectly just pop right off the build plate, you don't need to scratch yourself. Do you know how many times I've nicked myself or dug into my skin just holding the scraper like this, just trying to get some leverage and just popping it off? And then these side pieces, now yeah, every scraper isn't going to be like these. This is the one that came with the Elegoo Saturn, and I think they still do come with these. And they're sharp right here. You know how many times I've took my gloves off and I seen 2 slices, one on my index finger and one on my thumb, and I see a little blood coming through. I'm like, oh man, that's a little sharp. And I have to stop myself sometimes when I'm doing that. And I just figured, why not just calibrate the resin so it just pops right off, like that. And my prints usually come out like that every single time, because my resin, I calibrated it. I use Sunlu Toughness and Sunlu ABS like. I use them on their own and I mix them. Different ratios sometimes. If I have a little bit of ABS like and a little bit of Toughness left in the bottle, I'll just mix them together. Why? Because they use the same exact settings in my machine. Same exact settings to get the same results of a print. So I love those 2 resins, and a lot of times I can get 2 kilogram bundles of different colors: green, clear blue, clear red, gray, whatever, for like $33, sometimes $35, sometimes depending on the color, it might be like $39. That's a good deal, and it's always like that on Amazon too. It's not, I'm only talking about from their website. So to be able to save on consumables like that is just amazing, in my opinion. Let's put this back over here so we don't have to worry about the build plate. I'll deal with that later. But being locked down to everything, I'm talking about slicer. Look at this. Look at that. Like, just look how easy those pop. And this is cheap resin. This is the only resin that gave me a pain in the ass to calibrate. And I think it was down to a fact that it was old. It was like, I think 2 months out of being quote unquote expired, which I come to the conclusion I don't think these resins actually expire. There's a lot of videos going online, people using expired resin and it still works. So I guess make your own conclusion on that. By the way, this is a Harley Quinn model. I forget the name of it. Honestly, it's been a while. I printed all the other pieces and then realized I forgot the torso. And then printed off this and then got busy with other stuff, life, and completely forgot about it. But yeah, we're just gonna dunk this in here. But let's continue on with the hay gears. Okay, in my opinion, this machine is the way it is and locked down to the degree it is because they want to capitalize on new people coming into resin, people who want to get into resin, and people who want it to be easy, or are afraid of the toxicity. Okay, I get that. Machines like that should exist. There should be a type of machine for all types of hobbies or trades, for any normie person to use, to be able to just take out the box, flip a switch, and boom, for it to do everything for you. But also, these machines should come with options for advanced users. I mean, it doesn't take anything away from the machine or the company. The machine still can do what it does. Just people like me who want to use a cheaper type of resin, or in my opinion, better resin, best bang for your buck resin, rather than use their resin. That's all I'm saying. I'm a normal person, but I like tech just like any other person. Okay? I like tech. Okay? This is my office. So I like buying a new piece of tech just like anybody else. And I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of people like me. I just don't like being told how I can use my device. If I'm going to spend close to $1,000 on something, I don't believe, especially when I've already shown that a device can use other slicers, can let me change specific options. So how does that make it better? Okay, I save a few minutes, maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour on calibration tests, 2 hours, maybe a day. Okay, let's give it that, a day, or even a week. Okay, yeah, I know that sounds bad, like a week. Oh my god, it took me a week to calibrate this resin that I'm going to use for my machine always. This is the resin I chose. I like this resin, I like the color, I'm going to constantly buy this. It's at a price point that is for me, my budget. So it's only one time. You do it, you calibrate it, you set the settings in there. Once it's in your slicer, you export that profile, you save it somewhere on your hard drive, save it on the thumb drive, email it to yourself, and put it on your phone so you have it on multiple places. So if anything ever happens, you still have your profile. And then if you ever get a new printer, you try that profile, you start off, you have a starting point. You use the same resin, and maybe you might have to tweak the settings. You might have to up the burn-in time. You might have to up the exposure. People know where I'm coming from. So how is this revolutionary? How is this the best printer? All you did was took up the setup time of the red. That's it. That's it. Okay, so offer customer service through your slicer. Okay, simple as that. Simple. If you don't use the slicer, you don't get customer service. So if I'm using lychee slicer with a different resin, I can't just reach out. And if I go on switch slicers and try and bamboozle or whatever, I'm gonna get different results because I'm not using their resin. So, and then I won't be able to answer certain questions like what resin am I using? What am I supposed to do? Say, oh, I'm using PAP 10 settings. I'm using PAP 10 settings. I'm using PAP 10, PAP 10, PAP 10. Like, come on. Yeah, are there going to be people that are going to try and skirt the system? Of course, there always will be. And look, there already is people using PAP 10 settings on different resins. And you don't think people are going to run into problems with supports or this or that after watching a video on using PAP 10 settings, and they're going to reach out to Hey Gears and be like, hey, I'm using this resin, I watched this video on YouTube. They don't know what closed system is. What is this? This is their first printer, and they think that all printers are like this, or all resin printers are like this. So they don't know the difference. They've never used an Elegoo or an Anycubic. So and these weird comparisons with cars and everything in your life is closed. Yeah, but they don't need to be open. How does a TV need to be open? Loyal Moses had these weird comparisons with TVs and all this other stuff. What? They don't have TVs don't have consumables. I don't put oil in my TV. I don't put resin in my TV. I don't have to fill it up with water. I don't have to fill it up with a consumable. Toasters. Yeah, bread is cheap. There's so many different types of bread. But if I bought a toaster, he said toasters are closed. No, they're not. I can use whatever bread I want. If there was a toaster out there that you can only use a specific bread, how many units do you think would sell? There you go. You just answered it. Like, yeah, there's a bunch of closed systems out there. But, okay, I'm not arguing the closed and the holding the hands. Fine, let that happen. People need that. People need closed systems. I get that 100%. Like, there's nothing wrong with the system being closed. It's just that let people calibrate other resins if they want to. I don't see how it hurts the company, how it hurts the printer, how it hurts other users. I just don't get it. And then people say, oh, as soon as you give an advanced tab, that's when the problems start, and then blah, blah, blah. But that's easy. Unless you're using the hand-holding mode where everything is done for you, that's it. Come on, man. Like, the excuses and the I guess you'd call it copium between people, and I don't know if it's employees of Hay Gears that are in these streams or in these comment sections, or they're just oblivious themselves. I have no clue. But honestly, it just don't make any damn sense. Why cut off a whole, like, generation of people that like to tinker and tweak with their systems or resins, or want to use specific, or have different resins for different things? They have a resin for their wargaming models. They have a resin for statues. They have a resin for dimensional accuracy parts. They have a resin for mini items. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Some people like to organize and have the right resin. Some people like to go all out and have a lot of money to blow, and they want to get the best resin, the best resin for that thing that they're doing, and then they have the money to spend, which is fine. I have my two resins I like. I like my Sunlu Toughness and my Sunlu ABS, and I mix them occasionally to even give a little bit extra oomph. But I have something that I made for someone, or like a niece and nephew, and they might drop it, or maybe it's for a board game that will constantly get dropped off the table. Like, and point me to an ABS like, or a tough resin that they have that's 2 kilograms for about $30 some dollars. Yeah, no, the prices I seen were like $30 some dollars for 1 kilogram. So, yeah. Yep. I don't know, maybe everybody will call me an idiot and tell me I'm stupid in the comments. Go ahead. I'm still gonna have the same opinion regardless, because I'm not gonna be told this is exactly why I don't use Apple products. I'm not gonna spend $1,000 on a product and then be told how to use it when I know it can be used in different ways. I know specifically. So you've already showed me that I can use it openly and tweak the settings and use cheaper consumables, and now you want to take that away from me. Yeah, no. Unless every machine is closed and I have to, then I'll have to make a choice on either continuing the hobby or not. So, I don't know. I think this is why bamboo is successful, and people were a lot of people were comparing it with bamboo. And honestly, I think it's nothing like bamboo, because Bamboo Lab was successful because you can use different resins. You can use, not resins, sorry, different filaments. You're not stuck using just their filament. You're not stuck using their RFID system. You could buy any filament you want. Use the generic setting, and this is why they're so successful. The generic setting is, oh my god, you don't even need to calibrate and tune filaments. Oh my god, I dreaded that. I was like, oh, this is gonna be bad. I'm gonna have to stick with specific. Man, I could just buy the cheapest filament, whatever deal that's on Amazon that pops up in any frequent day, and I throw it at these printers, the Q1 Pro, the Solvo SB08, and it just does it. It just prints. Like, the only problems you usually have is the occasional PET G problem. It might be a little wet and has some bubbles around it, or it's stringy as all hell. But I just don't understand why a company cannot give an advanced feature. Advanced tab. That's it. Just a check mark in the slicer. And if you don't want people using your slicer, just open the system, whatever lock is on the chip or board in there, unlock it, send a firmware update, let people use Lychee Slicer, let people use other systems, or maybe it's not a lock, or maybe it's just a lack of profiles or whatever support from the slicer itself. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Like I said, I don't know the inner workings. I took this machine apart once, replaced the screen. It's been working flawlessly ever since. Nothing but perfect prints. I don't have to touch my profile. I go in there, slicing. That's it. Slicing is the worst part. If they could just get rid of, if the slicer could work, just you load up a model, hit auto, or just hit print, and it automatically orients the model in the best way, adds supports where it needs, and it just comes out with a flawless print. And honestly, I got a method for that actually works, and it's not that hard. And 90% of the time, 99% of the time, I get it just prints. Once in a blue moon, I might get the effed up print. Other than that, it's just auto supports. Pick the orientation where you want to put your model. Auto supports, and then you what's the setting where you where it supports them? I forget the name of it, but it adds extra support to the supports and adds extra like trees, I guess, where it supports, where it adds extra ones and it beefs them up. And sometimes if it's a big model, if it's taking up most of the build plate, you know, add some beefier. Use medium supports, don't use small. It might use a little bit more resin, but hey, as long as you're hollowing the model, you can save a lot of resin that way. One of these days I'll have to make a video on the way I support my models. It's almost auto. Like it's like click a few buttons. The most work you got to do is orient the model. Figure out the best way, the best orientation for the model on the build plate. Other than that, like, I don't know. Resin printing is easy, and to claim that this new printer is the easiest, and the reason why I'm agitating this so because it's been sitting there for like 2 weeks or more. So I just want to make sure all the resin is out, even though I'm going to cure it anyway, so. But this isn't bad. My main way of printing is FDM. Alright. I started off with resin because I thought that, like, I watched a ton of videos. I learned about, I knew how to slice before I even got the printer. So I just didn't know that resin was so brittle, even if you used ABS like resin, that you couldn't, there's certain things, like wall mounting things, like you can't resin print this. And then also you can't resin print like large enough stuff. Yeah, they do have larger printers, but you can't get like a 420 millimeter bed or a 350 millimeter bed on a resin printer. I wish you could. I can't wait for those times to come. Oh boy, doing helmets in resin, that'd be cool. It'd be expensive, but it'd be cool. But just tell me, what do you think? Am I losing my mind? Like, am I going off for no reason? But it just seems to me this new system is here to take advantage of newbies or people that don't know any better about resin printing. Don't know how easy it already is, especially for the newer machines. Like, take the Saturn 4 Ultra. That thing is pretty damn easy. To my knowledge, it took away a lot of the settings. But the things that makes it hard is the slicing, the orientation, the supports. Some models, they can't make it easy for every single model. Like, you're gonna have problems. You're gonna have a support that broke off. You're gonna, like, you're still gonna run into those issues. And yeah, they got that covered through the support, through the slicer. Bravo, awesome, fantastic. And I would love to use a machine like that, that when I don't want to calibrate a resin, I just want to go in there and hit print and just watch the printer do its thing. I would love to, but I will never buy a machine like that because I have like almost 10 kilograms of resin. Like, I'm not buying new resin. I'm not buying resin for double the price that I've already purchased good resin. Like, Sunlu ABS and toughness is good resin. Like, not doing it. Not doing it. I don't know. Comment down below. Maybe we'll argue. Maybe we'll fight all night. Maybe we won't. Maybe some people will agree. Who knows? Call me an idiot. I don't know. I just don't. It doesn't make sense at all. Something's not clicking. And then this push to push, like, oh, the best printer, the best printer, the best printer, the best. Come on, man. BS. BS, straight BS. Like, I don't know. Am I missing something? Am I? Is resin printing not easy? And I don't know. I'm just saying it's easy. Am I lying? Resin printing is not that hard. They make it seem like it's, oh my god, it's such a drag. You calibrate the resin one time. Are there resins out there that give you problems, are in our pain in the butt to calibrate? Yes! But are there resins that are easy to calibrate? Yes. There are a bunch of them, and they're readily available by large manufacturers, large companies like Sunlu. Come on now. I don't know. Till next time. This is resin. I don't know. I might make another video and show my slicing and how to orient the model, and if people would like to know how to use auto supports in an easy method, very quick. It's like click 3 buttons, slice, done. And I've had like a 99% success rate with it. If not, then I don't know, I'm not gonna make the video. But the next video I am working on is an FDM, like buying your first printer, since I already went through that just now. So with the Q1 Pro, I got the Bamboo Lab A1 Mini. I got the A1. I got the SP08. I started out with the Anycubic Cobra Neo, the first one. I had 2 of those. Got those working good. Sold them. Moving on. But yeah, I got the Venture 5M. It's gonna be between the Venture 5M. Might run some tests. Might, you know, do some slicing and run the same model on all the printers at once. We'll do the A1 Mini, Q1 Pro, Adventure 5M, SV08, and run them all at the same time. So you gets done first. Maybe change the settings so they're all the same speed, and see if the speed is actually the same on all of them. I don't know. Well, I'm working on it. It should be done here in the next few days, maybe a week. But subscribe if you want to see that. If you're looking on getting into FDM printing and you don't know what to buy, or you don't know what your needs are, I'll break it down best as possible. I'll explain my mistakes I made, or I think I made, and what I should have done compared to what I did do. But I don't know. Let me get out of here. Let me cure this model. What do you guys think? The Haygears RS, best thing since sliced bread? I don't know. I'm not seeing it. So unless somebody Haygear, some half-naked chick is gonna jump out the machine and slice the file for me and watch the printer all night, and I'm guaranteed 100% finished, perfect, pristine models every single time. And they're not only going to do that, they're going to do this part for me, which is the most toxic part of resin printing. The most terrible part of resin printing is this: having to deal with this. You still have to do it. So it doesn't cut this part out. You still have to do this part. And most of these channels aren't even showing it. Most of them aren't even resin channels. Loyal Moses told me, this printer's not from you. They don't want your money. They don't want your business. Buy another printer. That's what he told me. They do not want my business. Whoa, okay. Sorry. But comment down below. What do you think? Call me an idiot. I don't care. Till next time. Peace.